What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to 100% Mags. So this is of course the end of season review, and of course I'm going to talk about my thoughts on where we're finished in the season. I'm going to talk about the thoughts on my best players from this season. I'm also going to talk about my thoughts of the best games from this season, and also the thoughts of what we need to do for next season as well. So before we get into it though, I do want to say if you could put a like on the video, that would be appreciated. If we can get 10 likes on this video, that would be really amazing. And also, if you could please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet, as I'm on the road to 500 subscribers, currently at 474, so we're not that far away now. If we could hit that 500 by the end of this month, that would be absolutely amazing. So of course, as well, congratulations goes out as well to Graham Jones for getting the call up to Gareth Southgate's backroom staff for the upcoming Euros. Well deserved after the way he performed for us in the back room, of course, this season since coming in to, of course, do the tactics for the club, because as we all know, Steve Bruce doesn't do tactics, he doesn't do a plan A, he doesn't do a plan B, and he definitely doesn't do a plan Z. So, talking about the position where we're finished, for me, 12th, it's acceptable considering all of the factors that you've got to look at. It's how the season played out. You know, you've got to look at the fact that we've been in the middle of a takeover for pretty much the entire season. It's been happening since last season as well. It's been going on a long time now, this takeover from PIF and Co, and we're waiting on it, and we've been waiting on it for a long time. The Premier League's been messing with around Richard Masters and Gary Hoffman. The Greedy Six have had their opinions in on the takeover. BN Sports have had their opinion on the takeover. Richard Keys has had his opinion on the takeover. You know, Hattie Sanag, everybody has had their opinion on our takeover, and we've had to deal with that whilst also playing 38 games in the Premier League season and the FA Cup and the League Cup. You know, it's not been a great season for Newcastle. Let's just say that. It's been a very, very hard season to focus on when all that's going on in the background. So to finish 12th is really acceptable, and especially, you know, we had an amazing run at the end there, 5 wins out of 8 games, absolutely fantastic performance by the lads. Really started to get the crap together and move forward, and of course some standout players, which moves us on to, of course, the next one, which is the thoughts on the best players this season. For me, one of the best players in Newcastle this season has to be Joe Willick, and he's not even a Newcastle United player. We brought him in on loan, of course, in January from Arsenal, and he's got to be one of the standout players for us this season. Absolutely fantastic young lad, bright young future ahead of him as well. He's came in Newcastle from being on the bench at Arsenal, you know, and he's came in here, he's proved himself, he's proven that he's got a place in the English game moving forward, and it's a shame, you know, he said goodbye to Newcastle yesterday in a very emotional goodbye as well. He loved every minute of being here. You could see it by, you know, his videos after every game, talking to the fans after the interviews after every game. You know, you can see he absolutely loved every minute of being here, playing in the black and white shirt, playing at St James's Park as well, and he got the chance to play in front of the fans as well this season with that Sheffield United game, and also scoring in front of the fans as well. So you got a feel of what it's like to score in front of Newcastle United fans at St James's Park. Yes, it wasn't 52,000 fans, but you know, for the amount of fans that was in there, you would have thought it was 52,000. It was absolutely fantastic atmosphere, and also that was the first time that fans were allowed in the stadium for Newcastle this season. We've had no fans in any games bar that Sheffield United game, you know, and that's another big reason of why it's so impressive that we've finished in the 12th place, because as anybody knows, you know, the neutrals that might be watching this video, you know yourselves, Newcastle need fans. We need the fans at this club. And like every other club, the 12th man always makes a difference. And with us in Newcastle United, that is the 100% truth. Us fans always make the difference with Newcastle. And, if the fans were there, would Steve Bruce have stayed in the job as long as he did? I don't think so, to be honest. But, the standout players this season has to be Joe Willick. Alongside him, of course, Callum Wilson, Alan St. Maximin. There's so many players. Even Caldolo put in a shift this time round. He was called up to go between the sticks, when Martin Dubravka was missing a lot of the season. And he did his job. He proved himself in Newcastle. He proved that he could do it. And unfortunately, Steve Bruce might have kept him in a bit too long. At a couple of points in the games, at the season, you could say that there was a moment where Steve Bruce should have took him out, should have put Martin Dubravka back in, but he didn't. That was, of course, the ineptness of Steve Bruce, and that's one of the main reasons, why we only ended up finishing 12th. We could have finished higher if we had a proper manager like Rafa Benitez, but second season under Steve Bruce at Newcastle United. Last season we finished 13th. This season, we finished 12th. It's one place up from where we finished last season. It should have been so much more if, like I say, the Premier League hadn't have been sticking their nose into a takeover. The Greedy Six hadn't have been sticking their nose in. BN Sports, Hattie Snag, everybody else. Even your granny sticking their nose in at the takeover. Everybody's had a say on the takeover of Newcastle United. And the only people that should be having a say is the people at the table. The people like Mike Ashley, the Rubens, Amanda Staveley, and PIF. And anybody in behind, like Nick DeMarco or Drow, anybody like that. Them are the only ones that should be saying anything about this takeover. The Premier League can have a say, fair enough, because it is the Premier League at the end of the day, but not to influence and try influence the takeover so that another club can succeed at the top because they don't want Newcastle United there. That is not the way English football should be run, and that is definitely not the way we want to see English football run going forward. This has got to change. It's got to change now, and hopefully it will do. We're going to hear some big news, hopefully, on June the 11th, just before the Euros start. With, of course, hopefully the Premier League getting found out for all their corruption that they've done. And, of course, Newcastle hopefully getting a takeover put through and giving a big chance in next season. Hopefully with a new manager as well instead of Steve Bruce. Best games of the season as well. That moves us on to that. The best games for me this season, of course, you've got to say all the games in the League Cup. Absolutely fantastic run in the League Cup until, of course, we got the quarter-final game against Brentford. And again, the ineptness of Steve Bruce coming out to shine and ruining the League Cup quarter-final for us Newcastle United fans and making sure that we're lost to Brentford, which, should never been. Should have succeeded past that and went on further in the League Cup, but unfortunately that is Steve Bruce in a hole. Some of the games that were played in the League Cup, absolutely fantastic games. We've got, of course, the first game against Blackburn, we won 1-0, we won 7-0 in the second game against Morecambe. Absolutely amazing performance. Joe Linton bagging himself a double. Almiron scoring a goal, Murphy, Hayden, Lascelles, even an own goal by Morecambe themselves on the 91st minute. 1-1 against Tottenham in the league, another great game for Newcastle. 5-4 on penalties against Newport County, though to be honest we should have beaten Newport County a lot quicker than that. A 3-1 win against Burnley, a 4-1 defeat, unfortunately, to Man United was by far one of the games that I wished didn't happen, to be honest. Murphy scoring on the 89th minute against Wolves with an absolutely amazing free kick. Really good game. The game against Everton, where we ended up winning 2-1. Really good game. There's just so many games that you can see. And unfortunately, talking about the Cups, again, the FA Cup being neglected by the management and the hierarchy in Newcastle. Again, the FA Cup being neglected. Let's not forget, the FA Cup used to be a cup that Newcastle United succeeded in. This was our cup, and again, it's been neglected this season. We ended up losing 2-1 in extra time to Arsenal down at the Emirates. Emile Smith-Rowe on the 109th minute and the 117th minute for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Arsenal shouldn't have been coming away from that game with a win. Newcastle had it, and Steve Bruce threw it away. Other standout games more recently, the game against Leicester, the 4-2 against Leicester, absolutely fantastic game. The game against Man City, yes, we might have lost it 4-3, but at the end of the day, we still took at that point in time, new Premier League champions, of course, Manchester City, all the way to the brink. We almost won the game, and that's nothing to sniff your nose up at. At the end of the day, we almost won the game against the new Premier League champions, Manchester City, taking them all the way to the wire in a 4-3 thriller. Absolutely amazing game. And of course, there's so many standout moments in the season. Moving on from that, though, my thoughts on what we need to do for next season. That's plain down simple. We need to look at the players that we've got in the side, assess the squad going into the next season. We need to look at whose contracts are running out, whose contracts we want to renew. There's a lot of players there, that we can make money off and push forward. There's a lot of good free agents or players that are going to be free agents as well coming up. Maybe have a look at a couple of them, the likes of Danny Ings, Andros Townsend's in there as well. There's Jerome Boateng, Memphis Depay as well. Absolutely amazing players, all in the free agents pretty soon. Some of them even in the free agents right now, like Diego Costa. He's a really good player. Be worth a punt in Newcastle. So many good players that they could choose from to be playing for next season. Players that I'd like to see Newcastle get rid of. Jonjo Shelvey, it's time for him to go at the end of the day. The guy's been here for a long time now. You could see it this season. He's just not the Jonjo Shelvey that he was, when he came in. He was performing reasonably well when he came in. And now, we're carrying him in games and it's not good. It slows down the momentum of the players around him. It doesn't help the rest of the team. And it's just one of them negativities where you're just dragging him along in the matches. The same with Jeff Hendrick. We brought him in on a free this season. And he's only had really one good game. And that was the game against West Ham on the opening day of the season. From that point on, he's played in loads of games. And he's barely had a mention all season, and he's been playing in all these games. Another guy that we should be getting rid of, in my eyes. We should look to try and see if we can get some sort of money off of him, some sort of money off of the likes of Jonjo Shelvey as well. Maybe see if we can sell on Caldolo after I'm having a really good season. I'm sure there'd be, newly promoted side coming up into the Premier League want Caldolo, or even a top tier championship side maybe, that would want to take a punt on Caldolo. But I think, to be honest, them are definitely players that should be moving on. Maybe even Matt Ritchie, which is pretty sad to say because I absolutely love Matt Ritchie, but You know, it's time to move on from these players. It's time to move forward and advance the team. You know, we can't be hanging on to the players just because, you know, we've grown a company to them at the end of the day. I know it sounds harsh, that, but you've got to look at it from a competitive aspect. You know, we need to compete to survive in the Premier League, and we're not going to be able to do that if we're going to just hang on to the memories of all these players that are playing at the club. You know, we need to get rid of the ones that we can get money off now before they'll go, you know, on a free, or they see out the remaining careers at the club. You know, fair enough with the likes of Andy Carroll. You know, I wouldn't mind Andy Carroll finishing off his career at the club, to be honest, because he's a local lad and he deserves to see out the remainder of his career at Newcastle. Maybe he's even give him a contract, you know, and see if he'll accept going down into the reserves or something like that and working with the younger lads, bringing through the talent into the club. Maybe see if he would do something like that for Andy Carroll. But there's so many players, you know, that we need to get rid of. We need to get rid of the players, loosen down the wage bill a bit, and then push forward, see what we can get, cheap bargains on the transfer for, you know, the free agents and all that stuff. And hopefully as well, we might get that takeover through the door. I'm still very pro takeover. I really think it's going to go ahead, but we've just got to wait and see, unfortunately. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below on this video. Let us know your thoughts on the season as well. What you thought the standout moments were. You know, who were your favourite players from this season? What was your best games? Any thoughts about next season as well? You know, what do you think the club should be doing heading into next season? And also your thoughts on where we're finished in the league as well. And if you could, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. How are the lads?